Usually at the beginning of a video like this, I'd claim that stranger things have happened. In this particular case, though, I don't know if that would be true. This would be the strangest thing of all time, pretty much bar none. And if you somehow manage to come up with a less likely scenario, I applaud you. Also, drop that scenario in the comments so we can make a video about it. In the meantime, though, let's discuss the following. What if the Kraken was discovered on Mars? Humans have been obsessed with space travel ever since the idea was first brought up. Even before it was in the realm of possibility, folks wrote sci-fi and dreamed about what might be out there beyond the stars. Hell, folks knew about Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Mars back in ancient times. It has been the long-standing dream of many to finally make it to Mars someday. It's the planet with the closest composition to Earth, it's closer than a whole lot of other planets, and might just be survivable. So somebody wrote The Martian, NASA sent a rover, and folks imagined what it might be like to live on Mars. Might as well start a colony, right? We've got enough problems on Earth. As of right now, it seems as though if we were to set up shop on Mars, we'd be the only ones around. Evidence of life on the red planet is slim, and nobody's managed to pick up any signs of extraterrestrial life. The Martians seem to be staying in our sci-fi stories for now. Although if we managed to touch down on the surface, I suppose these people would end up as Martians. Funny how that works. But what if there was something lurking beneath the surface that we're missing? Something famous for sinking ships and branding rum. I asked the question already, but we're bringing it back up now. What if the Kraken was discovered on Mars? Insane, right? Well, there are a few ways to approach this question. Of course, it could be a posthumous discovery. Stay with me here. The Kraken lives in water, right? It's an enormous mythical octopus that dwells in the deep dark depths of the ocean. It feeds on large quantities of fish, and tends to snag various ships as they pass overhead. So on Mars, where there is very little liquid water, it would have a tough time surviving. However, it could have lived there at one point. All of this ice on Mars didn't necessarily always exist in a solid state. Some scientists estimate that there is enough water on Mars, albeit frozen, to have covered the entire planet to a depth of 35 meters. So if at any point all of this water was free-flowing, maybe enormous squid monsters could have existed there. With that in mind, consider this. Folks hop on their Mars-bound spaceships and enter deep freeze. All of a sudden, they're awake and approaching the red planet. How exciting. They touch down and get to work colonizing the planet. They build bases, dig trenches, and all of a sudden come across something horrifying and fascinating. A giant tentacle. Somehow, an enormous cephalopod had been trapped beneath the surface of the planet, completely encased in ice. There is plenty of ice estimated to be beneath Mars's surface, so it's possible that life did once exist in the waters here. So one way to discover a Kraken on Mars would be to find the long dead remains of one that lived there ages before humans even considered space travel an option. What a discovery that would be. Proof of extraterrestrial life, even if it's long dead, is enormous to say the least. And knowing that these dangerous and horrifying creatures aren't around to cause problems for anyone is a relief. Disappointing that we didn't get to see it in action, but still. But that is the most realistic, also known as boring, possibility. So what if there was a big-ass, alive and dangerous Kraken waiting on Mars? How would we find out? Well, hopefully it would make itself known before folks attempted to make a trip through the stars. Imagine taking a look at the feed from the rover and catching a glimpse of an enormous tentacle slipping out of view, like a found footage monster movie in real time. Eventually, more sightings of this mysterious Mars monster would be reported, and I can only assume that it would take the rover out in the end. Yeah, maybe don't send folks to the planet with the enormous killer octopus. Worse yet, what if we don't discover this creature until we got living bodies on the surface? Instead of trying to cultivate soil and build structures for long-term survival, we'd have to figure out exactly how to deal with a threat like that. I mean, pioneers often have to deal with a whole lot of deadly nonsense when pushing for new horizons. It comes with the position. So whoever decided to hop on the bullet train to outer space would also have to fight against enormous Krakens on a brand new planet. Although this all sort of relies on the Krakens being able to survive on land or ice, which is a bit of a stretch to be honest. That would be the ultimate Martian monstrosity if it were the case. A Kraken that can live on land, hanging out on Mars. We should have sent Space Force first, armed with Spartan lasers and plasma grenades. Oh well, live and learn. In the end, discovering the Kraken on Mars would be an enormous win for humanity. A fascinating creature like that on a planet we've dreamed of setting foot on for ages. A momentous occasion to say the least. But once the glory wears off, we'd be stuck with this question. How the hell do we deal with this? Or maybe finding the remains of the famous nautical monster would be the major discovery. That would be a little easier to deal with, if not a little bit of a letdown. So, what do you think? What would the reaction be to discovering the Kraken on Mars? Is there a possibility of finding something like that on this planet? What other mythical creatures could be lurking out there? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Speaking of comments, let's take a look at some of your more corrosive ones from What If Donald Trump became the Prime Minister of the UK? Maltese0217 says, what if the Pokemon franchise had ended after Gold and Silver in 1999 as originally intended by Game Freak? Nintendo would be a whole lot less rich, I would imagine, and then the world wouldn't have ever seen the glory that is Skeptile. The Gaming Canadian says, nobody is saying first. We have defeated the 8-year-olds. Whoa, calm down there, Anakin Skywalker. Haas3777 says bullfrogs would quit bumping their asses on the ground because they would have grown wings. I like this comment. Darius Bird says, what if Joe was not your mama? Impossible. Next question. And Fox Jake says, let's call V then. Remember the 5th of November. And that is all the time we have for today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.